I want to take an opportunity to ensure that our entire community has an update on where we are as a city, some of our stakeholders across the city, mayor's team, city management team on after actions from last night and Friday as well, and our plans for moving forward with what we've been experiencing in protests throughout the city. I'm going to give you some chronological perspective to what we've been doing for the past 2.5 days. On Friday, we began with a protest. It had an organizer. It was structured. We had our intelligence division assigned to it, and there was a roadmap as to what was going to be done, who was going to speak, where they were going to march, the direction, and all of those things. And it was coordinated by the police department's intel unit to ensure that we provide safety to a peaceful protest, because that's what we do in our police department, is provide a safe route and safety to those who protest peacefully. There was about 500 participants. Ultimately, they began to march through the streets, and around 8:45, 9 o'clock, we saw a separation of some of the protesters. Some of them began to try and access the freeways, but because we were prepared and had our partners from the sheriff's office to intervene and prevent them from going on to the freeways. After that, they began to, again, come together. And then right about 9:15, we saw a shift at Griffin and Young Street. They began hailing bottles at officers and bricks and damaging our scout cars. At that particular point in time, officers produced their protective gear, and we made a decision to deploy tear gas to disseminate the crowd and protect the officers as well as our property. What we realized moving forward was they were breaking down into smaller groups and going around the area to damage property. Now, we were prepared for what we had seen in other cities, but what we want you to know is that they are strategic and they shift each and every day. They watch what we do, and they've been moving around. What we recognize now is that this is no longer peaceful protesting. Where it started, we all agree that our hearts go out to the Floyd family, but this is not what we are dealing with. We are dealing with individuals who are vandalizing property, attempting to injure police officers, and the protesters who are peacefully protesting, putting their safety and lives at risk as well. This will not be tolerated in our city. On Saturday, after Friday night, we were able to garner some intel about the Saturday planned protests, one to begin at 1:30 and the other one to begin at 4:30. We were successful in garnering information about 800 to 900 vehicles planning to protest at North Park Mall and Galleria Mall. We were able to coordinate with security for the mall, as well as get an agreement. They shut down the mall at 2 o'clock on yesterday, and they are still closed today. So we were able to prevent that protest. However, the protest that started at 1:30 on yesterday began peaceful. It began with individuals in front of City Hall, and they marched multiple times and then had a prayer. But shortly after that, there were objects being thrown at the police. There were police vehicles being vandalized, both Texas Department of Public Safety vehicles as well as Dallas police vehicles. And at that time, we again deployed gas. What we did differently on Saturday than we did on Friday is that we recognized that they had a desire to be in the downtown area and the surrounding area. So we strategically worked alongside of DPS, who has about 500 troopers in the city supporting us, as well as Irving Police and Allen Police. And we strategically staged them around the downtown, uptown areas, West End areas, to block off vehicular traffic and limit the amount of pedestrian traffic that was going to come into the area. Now, we're not claiming any successes because we see that they have been continuing to vandalize property. And so at this point, we are committed to keeping the city of Dallas, the residents of Dallas, our police partners and police officers safe in this city. We will not tolerate what we are seeing right now. We are instituting a curfew. I have requested from the mayor, and he has signed a declaration, emergency declaration, giving us authority to institute a curfew that will begin at 7 p.m. and end at 6 a.m. for the next several days. We had been working on getting a curfew, but I do want the community to understand it is a coordinated effort. When you want to institute a curfew in the city and make mass arrests, it requires coordination with multiple agencies. There has to be arrest and processing locations, multiple transport vehicles, as well as resources, including judges and magistrates, as well as our CDC. And so we've been working on that throughout last night and this morning, and we have a curfew in place. These rioters, these looters, they have become extremely aggressive, and our enforcement efforts have escalated. We will not tolerate any more damage to our city. Dallas is Texas's jewel, and we need to make sure that we protect our city and that we protect the people who do intend to protest peacefully, as well as the residents and business owners of this community. So tonight, that curfew will encompass multiple areas: Deep Ellum, Farmers Market, the Cedars, Central Business District downtown, West End, Victory Park, and Uptown. And it will include these boundaries. North boundary would be Oak Lawn Avenue. To the west, the Riverfront Boulevard. To the south, Corinth Street. And to the east, Peak Street. So we are determined, is the right word that I want to use, to keep our city safe. We will make arrests of individuals violating curfew. You will not be able to access these areas. We will not tolerate any more vandalism of our city. Moving forward, this curfew will be in effect for the next several days, and we intend to continue the utilization of our partners. I just want to at this time thank our Chief of Police in Irving and their police department, Chief of Police in Allen, as well as Hank Sibley, the Regional Director for the Texas Department of Public Safety, who has been an excellent partner in making sure that Dallas has the resources that it needs. And we will be out in full force protecting the city of Dallas.